Hey everyone! So, welcome back to another update of Metalla, and today I wanted to go a bit more into the details on the game itself. Now there are a couple of videos out there that you potentially have seen already, but I wanted to maybe make a deep dive more on the complexity of the game and also how difficulty scaling works, and specifically picking up on a question from Bullway in the comment section, who asked about the option to adapt the difficulty, potentially make it more challenging, also in the New Game Plus, for example, where you start the game again and the replayability coming with that to face even harder challenges. So how has difficulty been implemented in Metalla? Some of you may have already seen that, but I'm just going to quickly recap one of the key aspects as you play through the campaign, which is the scale of the goddesses, which you can see here on the party sheet. So there's Isil on one side and there's Arthur on the other side. And you start in the middle of the scale. And depending on whether you win or lose, you will move either towards Arthur if you lose the game, so towards the goddess of life, or you will move towards Isil, the fallen goddess, demon goddess, if you win the game. And this impacts your subsequent chapters, because depending on where you are on that scale at the beginning of a chapter, if you're on the side of Arthur, you will get some benefits and the game will get easier. So it will adapt to your difficulty. On the other hand side, if you lose the game, or if you have not lose, but if you have been on the side of Isil, then her gaze will fall upon you and she will curse the dungeon, making it harder for you, because the demons spawning there will be tougher, and also these spots will be harder to fortify and to make them to protect them. So that is one aspect of how the game kind of scales with the difficulty. Another thing is that overall, if you want to see higher complexity, one thing that you will see in the game is that each hero comes with different classes. So you will have the base classes that you unlock directly at the beginning of the game, with which you will be playing. And so the core heroes that are included are a bit more straightforward, so you can easily get into the game, but also they also offer some complexity. But once you want to scale up the complexity of your game, at some point you will be unlocking the advanced classes. And this is a slight spoiler. So the advanced classes, they offer sometimes more complex, or they have more complexity in their tableau. So they're not necessarily stronger per se, but they will also be more challenging to play, to actually unlock their full potential. So if you are getting into the game, probably you will be more efficient with the base class, because it's easier to learn and to master that one. But the advanced classes actually have additional resources here. You can see, for example, here you can see he has a separate mechanism. The character itself now has just a very low hit points. On the main side, he has 5 hit points, so he's tougher than actually on his advanced side. But he now has a revealed and hidden mechanism in his tableau. So he can actually hide in the shadows, making enemies ignore him. And that is a standard part of the mechanism of how you have to play this character to survive, but also to deal the maximum damage. So these are things that are also allow you to pick the complexity and the difficulty that you want out of the different, as you play along the campaign. Once you finish the campaign, there will even be post-campaign chapters, so there will be something where you can fight things that are even harder than what is the core of the campaign. It's a little bit like, I don't know, I remember that back then when I was playing Final Fantasy VII, I think it was, once you completed the game, you were able to fight bosses beyond what was actually in the main story, and who were even tougher, or things that were even tougher. So the game will also have something like that. And then there's, in addition, the expansion will also offer a bit more challenge, and especially one of the characters there also adds some quite a bit of complexity to the character class itself that he's bringing. I will be talking about that a little bit more in the future, but those are kind of core things. Regarding the New Game Plus, that is actually something that I find really interesting, that I will look into, because I think that would be really cool to implement in the game. So thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, that is a really, really cool idea. I also know that from playing Dark Souls myself, for example, and so this is definitely a cool idea. And there was another comment from Fate Slayer on the option of one-shot chapters or scenarios. I've already seen that a few times in the past, and Yes, we have one-shot scenarios, and those, so you can theoretically play a certain chapter or a certain scenario just as a one-shot as well. We also have free scenarios on the side, so there's the main mission that you play through, but those free scenarios are especially created to also be played kind of with people who are maybe not even playing as part of your key campaign. So we will make those available as one-shots, as they are not tied directly into the key campaign narrative. They're also a bit differently designed in terms of to what you've seen maybe in playthrough videos, because they are more, they contain more randomized elements. So for example, you may be looking for a key objective in these dungeons, but the dungeon or where this are will change with each playthrough. For that we have like kind of randomizer cards which actually randomize during your exploration which kind of sections you will read. So there will be, even exploration will be different every time, and also those focus much more heavily on not so much pre-written events in the campaign book, but actually those will utilize these the event cards a lot more. So in terms, instead of having preset events, you will often be asked instead to draw from the event deck and then have random events appearing. So even the exploration in these will also be different, because you will have a lot more of those. Okay, so that's something on the variation of the single chapters, or the chapters that you can play as one-shots if you want to. There was also a question about the scalability of these chapters. So scalability, again, can also then be applied via just putting yourself on the setting your difficulty or choosing your difficulty if you only want to play as a one-shot on the scale of goddesses, and saying, okay, we want to start at maybe easy level 4, so we will have to start with 4 curses, which would be pretty tough. Or you could say, oh, well, actually I want to go in lighter because I want a bit more of an open, easier experience, and you can go more to the other side. Yeah, so that's a little bit about like the one-shot scenarios, but also about potentials to scale the difficulty in Valhalla. And with that, I'm now going to dive into one more topic, and that is the Alchemist. I don't want to spoil too much about what the Alchemist does. So the Alchemist is an NPC within the game, but I wanted to ask you if you wanted to propose names for the Alchemist, and maybe also if you have an idea, also a little bit about the background or backstory that you could see with such an NPC that people that you would encounter as part of the world. And if you have anything, please drop it in the comments, or you can also send me a message if you want to prefer that instead. So I'm really curious to hear what your ideas around this kind of character would be that we meet in this world of Valhalla. And also, if you have any other questions or anything that you want to know or discuss with me, please drop in the comments. Any feedback on this update, if this is more the kind of update that you prefer in the future, where I dive more into gaming aspects of the game and give you some more details, or if you want to know something else, just let me know. I will be doing a separate video, which is also linked in this update, about the raid part, as some people have mentioned that they want to rather see the gaming related updates, but not so much the social related updates. Again, for those, I apologize that you have to see both of those. As I previously mentioned, like to make the game the best we can, we have to address both sides. So we also have to make it a good game, obviously, but we also need people to bring in as many people as possible, so we can actually create the best synergies to have good components, to have as much stuff in there as possible, and just make it a good thing. So with that being said, thank you so much. Again, leave everything in the comments or contact me via messages, and yeah, talk to you or see you soon. Bye bye.